In this video, we are working on the objective quadratic equation applications, free fall. Example says, a coin is dropped from the top of a skyscraper. Solve the given equation by factoring to find the number of seconds it takes the coin to reach the ground. And they gave us the expression negative 16t squared plus 1024 equals 0. Even though they set this up, let's make sure we understand why the equals 0 is here. The equals 0 is here because they said they're looking for the time it takes for the coin to reach the ground. When you're at the ground, you have 0 height. So they took their equation, the negative 16t squared plus 1024, and they set it equal to 0. We're going to use factoring to help us find the number of seconds. So remember, we're finding t. So first we're going to factor negative 16 out of both terms. We're going to write negative 16, open parentheses. When we factor out, it's like we are dividing out. So negative 16t squared divided out negative 16 leaves us with regular t squared, positive t squared. And then we also need to factor out or divide out the negative 16 from the 1024. And we'll get negative 64. Don't forget, still equals 0. We're going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 16. And we'll have t squared minus 64 still equals 0. And we're still using factoring. So now we are looking at a perfect binomial, a perfect square binomial, meaning t squared is a perfect square because t times t gives you t squared. 64 is a perfect square because 8 times 8 gives you 64. But remember, it's a perfect square because of the minus sign in the middle. So remember, this should be written as t minus 8, t plus 8. Still equals 0. And let's go ahead and check it real quick. T times t gives us a t squared. We have the same binomial except for the sign in the middle, so we know our middle terms will cancel. And then we know negative 8 times 8 will give us the negative 64. So we're on the right track. So the last thing we want to use is the zero product property. It says that if you have a product, so quantity t minus 8 times quantity t plus 8, if that product equals 0, then each one of these quantities needs to be set equal to 0. So that means t minus 8 could be 0, so we set it equal to 0. Or it could have been t plus 8 equals 0. So we solve each of these equations, and we end up with t equals 8 when we do this one, and we end up with t equals negative 8 when we do this one. Now we need to stop and remember that this is an application problem, and the problem said find the number of seconds. Well, we know seconds cannot be negative, so the answer t equals negative 8 will not fit the application. So the only answer is t equals 8 seconds. So one more time, this is an application problem using a quadratic equation. We had to find the number of seconds in order for the coin to reach the ground. After using factoring, we end up with 2 answers for t. However, the number of seconds has to be positive, so we cancel out the negative answer and we only circle the answer that says positive 8 seconds.